Tackling the toughest topics in car culture. Stay low, stay boosted. Tackling the toughest topics in car culture.
You're tuned in to the Low and Boosted podcast. Hit follow on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. A Low and Boosted. Like, comment, subscribe, and
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We are here with myself, Richard, my co-host Thomas and Jeremy, and our guest, Josh Nahm from Nahm Industries. Josh, how we doing tonight?
I'm doing well, I'm about to see if I get myself canceled on the entire internet live, so that's good.
There we go. Well, getting canceled has been a thing for the car culture and community for a while now. They want to cancel everything. You are the parts seller extraordinaire. Tell everybody what companies do you own that is part of the Nahm Industries?
Okay, so the original would be Import Image Racing, and then we started importing Cosmos Racing wheels in 2012. Then we did Silver Suspension in 2017. We have Noble Aftermarket. We have Buckle Up Off-Road, which is our Ford venture. We have Dirty Off-Road, which launches January 1st, which is our Jeep store. Nahm Industries was, I don't know, in the 2020s somewhere. And that's a wholesale distribution company. So we're the importer for Process West. And then, so we have manufacturing now as well in-house. So that's another company that is sort of in the background there. And then, that's it for performance parts, really. We're going to really see how AI brings us up and spreads us out, and see how many other markets we can tackle with our employees and team that we have now.
Definitely. For people that don't know, they look at you, they think you're successful, but it didn't happen overnight. What got you into the parts world? What made you drive into that category?
Well, we can just start from the beginning. So, I was in high school, and I'm 42, so this was when I was 15, 16. And even earlier than that, I was playing Gran Turismo video games, and I was just into modding cars. My parents had, like Nissans, like a Maxima and a minivan, so I didn't come from like any cool car background. But my dad always liked sports cars, and some of my cousin and some of my family had cool cars. I think what really got me into cars was we'd come down to Florida, and from New Jersey originally, and they would take me for rides in these cars that I would have never been in. So whether it was like a Barracuda or a Shelby Cobra, the one that sticks out for me is in 1996, a 1996 911 Turbo S. My cousin picked me up at a family party, and that's when that car was new. That's like $1 million car now, but back then, I mean, it probably was $1 million too, because inflation, 250,000. Yeah. So the Sublime album just dropped. I remember that, and he took me 186 miles an hour on the highway, and I was just like, I have to figure out how to get that. but to get that and where I was is just so far apart. It seemed like more of a dream. So I remember I'd be in high school and I'd be making these modification lists, and back then, like, there were a couple of parts of websites. It was like Nopi and Stillin and just all these sites, and it wasn't like so turnkey as it is right now. So by the time I got my first car was a BMW 318 IS. It was like E36 93. It had 138,000 miles on it. It was on a second engine, and it was the slowest car on the planet. It's 138 horsepower. But like, I put an exhaust on it, I put the mirrors on it, I put a stereo in it, and then I was like, okay, well, meanwhile, I was working at a kid's shoe store or something, and then I got into valet, and that's sort of what I was doing valet for Neiman and Marcus, and that's what sort of paid for my mods. So I decided to get a E36 M3 super used. It was my cousin's friend. We drove it back from Florida with my dad to New Jersey. I still lived up there at the time, and started racing that. I mean, this is back in the day, like pre-Fast and Furious. I would actually meet up on Route 59 and we'd go racing and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool. This is, you know, the early days of the whole street racing thing for imports. And I wound up, I needed more power. And how do you get more power to E36? Well, you could have turboed it, or you put the Euro motor in a 6-speed. So I had a Euro motor and a 6-speed swapped, and had individual throttle bodies and all that. And it took a long time. And honestly, the car was never right after it was swapped. And if I would have turboed it, I might have had more success there, and maybe it wouldn't have led me to where I'm at now. So, in any event, it didn't turn out so well. My dad had just got a WRX. He got it like an '04, and I got a '03 leftover bug eye. And the deal was I was to leave it stock while I go to college and work valet. Well, back then, making a couple $100 a day doing valet and being a delinquent kid that doesn't know about money, I spent 20 grand on that thing in the first 6 months when I was at school. I remember being in my driveway doing the up pipe, and like, this was before there were tutorials. It took like a day in the driveway.
Before YouTube. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is early days. This is 2003. And I swapped the STI interior. We put a big turbo on there, and I'm like, I went to Jermaine at Turbo XS. He was like a tuner in Connecticut, and he was working out of an apartment, and he installed my Power Enterprise 1820, which was like a big turbo back then. And it made 310 at the wheels, which was a lot back then. And I would go racing in it, and you always want more. So I wound up, I did everything I could with that car. And then, the Evo looked better. So I bought an Evo. And I did that. And, car wise, I've been through so many, but I wound up moving to Florida. My cousin showed me a really good time on spring break, and was like, yeah, you should come sell cars for me. So I wound up, I wound up selling cars for him after I moved down, but I was only getting paid like $200 a week, so I had to figure out something to do. I definitely that was a tough one. So we started valet at the local mall because I knew how to do that. And
Yep.
I'm still only about qualified to work at McDonald's, so until McDonald's pays more, I'll be here. But so wound up doing that. I gave it to I bowed out, and the performance parts thing, I forgot to mention. When I was in New Jersey, my friend Nino, who's my best buddy now, I used to drive down the shore and pick up all these parts from him. Like, I just buy them, pay him cash in like singles. Like, I wasn't a stripper, but I was a valet guy, and you just give him the big wad of money, and then go get your parts and put them on. So we fast forward. I'm now in Florida, and things aren't really looking too good, but my parents would hook me up with a place to live if I went to college. So wouldn't you know, I enrolled in college.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I actually started Import Image Racing. It was January 1st, 2005. And I made this website with my friend, I've known since 6th grade, and it's Pat, and he added all these parts. Well, I added the parts. He made the outline. And I would just sit there and waiting for the phone to ring, like adding parts to the site and getting these accounts. And my friend Nino, he did go out of business when he moved to Florida. He got kind of screwed over by the movers that kept all his stuff. And I wound up buying his accounts. because back then you had to be, and I mean, even to this day, you could still be direct with the companies, but there was some things that happened in between 21 years ago and now that made it irrelevant and now relevant again. So uh, at that point, I'm I've never seen the Star Wars movies or Lord of the Rings, and I'm sitting in my townhouse adding parts like for the rest of my life. Basically, you could watch all those movies, of course, pirated off the internet for free.
Yeah.
So I got to see all the movies. I wait for the phone to ring, and originally my goal was to make like 100 grand a year. That was probably like $500,000 now or something. I don't know with inflation, but it was, I'm just some guy working a $9 an hour job at Fort Myers Toyota. Actually, I was the parts guy, driving the truck, going to college, and I would ship out parts on my lunch break. And we did some group buys online, and I had hundreds of Walbro pumps. Enki would drop off like pallets of wheels at my townhouse. I lived on the second floor, so I'd like bring up the stairs. Mishimoto, I had the radiators there, like Power Enterprise injectors. We did a group buy. I had like a suitcase full of 25 grand worth of injectors. It was just whatever. And I probably would have done better had I known anything about money. But no, I was a delinquent car parts guy, and that's it. I just lived to modify cars. I went through a bunch of different cars. I've had quite a few STIs and WRXs, and I'd say the top one I had over 700 horsepower on it. It was a 67, 66 with a fully built long block. And that was back in 2011 when E85 was fresh. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've been around the block with building them, and so back to the import image story. So I'm in this townhouse, and I go back to my grandma when she was still alive in Long Island, or a family party. And at this point, our sales are exceeding me going to school. Like, I'm making more than the teacher, and going to school is hindering business. So I remember my dad being like, "You're not going to school anymore, are you?" And I'm like, "Ah, shit." So yeah, I wound up not going to school anymore, and then it wound up being better. So uh, yeah, it's crazy. I remember being up at a hotel there, and I was answering both phones. There's a picture of me in my boxers and a t-shirt. I'm jumping up and down the hotel bed, talking to two different customers on two different cell phones. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
just did everything I could because I was a one-man band for a long time. And then we sort of outgrew the townhouse there, and I got a house. Everyone's parents convinced them back then, before the big crash, that a house is what everyone needs. So I buy this house for like 200 and whatever thousand, 100 whatever thousand. So uh, ups and downs, right? So I turned this house into the car parts house in Cape Coral, Florida here, and I literally was filling it up with car parts, kind of like people would do with drugs, but I do with car
Yeah.
parts. So the rooms were car parts. As it expands, and then eventually it's okay. Well, maybe I need a little warehouse, and we wound up. I wound up getting a little 1,500 square foot place in Cape Coral. It was like industrial, and we put a second floor in, and I had this like hoist and pulley where we'd use the upstairs and the downstairs, and I'd buy whatever I could that would make money. And I got into. I remember I had an employee by the name of Billy, and he was with me for a long time. He was one of my customers, and he came down and worked back to back with me in the office. And then I had Alicia, which she's still here today, from Vegas, and she does website stuff now, but she was right there with me doing shipping and helping out. And we sort of just grew. I remember there's some definitely like key moments. BC Racing Suspension is Pete. I met him. He's the owner for USA, and I met him when he worked at Disney. Like he was driving a little Toyota Tacoma. His cute little daughter. Really nice guy, and that's sort of my venture into suspension. I remember SEMA 2007. He needed some funding, and we wired the money there so they could keep going. And look at him now, man. He's killing it. So uh, BC Racing was definitely an important part. I'm still an OG dealer, and we distribute them under the Nahm Industries brand. Uh, Billy was friends with Terry that owns Fortune Auto, and Fortune Auto has always been a good company. And I actually invented the in stock Fortune Auto coilover in probably 2017 because people don't like to wait. So
Yeah,
we did that. Yeah, it's hard to put 21 years into one timeline, one
it is.
structure with all the different companies, especially being like the ADD guy. My brain's everywhere. So
That's like
uh,
our friend Jeremy there. He's our ADD guy. So we definitely are used to. Now during this whole time of where you were to where you are now, is there anything you would have done different?
oh well, if I understood money earlier, that probably would have helped. I mean, I can tell you a lot of things about the industry. I mean, when I was that $9 an hour driver in 2005, 2006, like the company that is turned 14 right now used to be JSC Speed. That was John, Chris, and Kyle. Kyle runs it now, and he was my sales guy. So, like, I literally came up with them. I'm still one of their biggest import customers. I think it's no secret of where they are in the industry. Um, there were other distributors like Motivicity, and they failed, and Turn bought them or their inventory and got some of the good people. Um, Rally Sport Direct was a big wholesale company, and that was another thing. And they're basically gone. Subi Speed, all of these companies, it's pretty much just me and Nick at Subi Mods, and the rest like got bought out. And we're I'm pretty friendly with everyone in the back end. That's any of the top companies. So behind the scenes, it's probably different than online.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. I'm very familiar with most of the other companies. They've all are doing their own thing in the market now with the internet and a lot of people trying to get into the parts world or per se the drop ship
Mhm.
thing. How has it helped or hurt you in a way?
Well, I do a little bit of drop shipping myself, but I would say where I'm at now with the warehouse and having inventory, and I mean, I even have pre-tariff inventory. Uh, it's kind of like a superpower because what really helped me back in 2018, it was 2017, was sort of my rise up. I started identifying after being super broke. I got divorced and I was negative $1 million, and I had to sell my truck to pay for a wheel shipment, and I mean, I really came back from the verge. But yeah, I could see because at that point, 2017, I was in a 15,000 square foot warehouse, and it's pre-COVID. I saw that I could sort of corner a market, and if you had all the products, then well, they'd have to buy from you, right? So I didn't really like jack up the price or anything. I just had them, and that became the thing. It was just having the items that no one else had. So as COVID progressed, I remember as outside like scooping up horse shit on my farm, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I could buy all the access ports. I could buy all the flex fuel kits. I could buy all of the titanium Tomei exhausts. And so in March of 2020, that was like a super nutty thing to think about because the world was changing, and we car parts were sort of deemed essential, and I had my foot on the gas.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and we went from being a $20 million company to being a $40 million company, like overnight.
Wow.
Basically, it felt like. And I bought everything, and we got this warehouse, and because the last one, I mean, at 15,000 square feet, I was just about putting parts on the roof, like I couldn't be reasoned with. I was like, I go off gut feelings. I'm not much for data. I still watch every sale. Like we've made 10 sales since we've been talking for the past 5 minutes or whatever it is. Um, I look at every sale and I'm very much in tune with the customers in the market. So if I during that point, and then even still today, although there's not that same stress on the market, um, I could basically insider trade at that point and say like, okay, the distributor, do you have this product? When are you getting more? And then you ask the manufacturer, when are they getting more? And you can find out, and you just swing for it. So, uh, you know, recently I bought every Exedi clutch for the '06 to '25 WRX with flywheel. Um, and it was a little bit cheaper, so I got to keep the price cheaper for all the customers. I really did buy 100+ Tomei exhausts one time. Rally Sport actually, but they've been bought out, so it's not those people anymore. They're not even in the industry really. But uh, back then, they kept me away from Tomei. They wouldn't let me be direct. Everyone tried to control me. So I did the craziest thing ever, and I bought 100 exhausts, like every single one. And then since Rally Sport raised my price so much that like I couldn't compete, I actually did raise the price, and then Tomei wound up changing the price to where it is now. Because I'm like, they were selling it any price. I could have charged anything, but I didn't. I kept it fair. Um, Eventually, I did get a Tomei direct account, but that was like, I want to say in 23. It took me years
Wow.
because their Tomei is like this old school Japanese company and like honor and all that. And I get it, but Rally Sport was sort of imploding at the time, and was grandfathered. So I wound up buying it from other places, and eventually it was direct. The guy who runs it actually came to my house, and I had a white Bronco Raptor at the time. He came out to the shop and saw, like, I have a 67,000 square foot warehouse now, so we saw like we have just aisles, and there's 400,000 products in stock. So it's something. And I took him for a ride on my off-road track that I made here, and we jumped the Bronco Raptor. And it's like this, nice Japanese guy, and we're in the Bronco Raptor, and we jump it. Wouldn't you know, I got the account right after that. We went
Yeah.
home.
Showed them a good time, so fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Now,
I've always tried to be the most fun in business. I
yeah,
don't want to be like corporate. I like that we're still privately owned, and we get to have some fun.
it's personal. It's personal. You get that connection with them because you're not treating it the straight corporate way, by having fun. And that
Yeah, they would
wins
have
people
fired
over.
everyone or something.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned tariffs before, the tariffs and all that.
Oh
How
yeah.
is tariffs affecting business right now?
So there's a couple. That's a broad one, and we'll start with the customer. And I can only go off of customer interaction and their average sales and like the actual data behind that. And over the past year, we've seen an average sales shrink from like $400 to $200, and that sort of makes sense because life is more expensive. So people are focusing more on, like, I'm doing a lot of the OEM Subaru products, like replacement, like keeping their cars running. And obviously they like to mod stuff. People are still modding. Um, I would say the tariffs have hindered the buyer because, I mean, who am I selling to? I'm selling to guys that have, I don't want to say inexpensive cars, but 30, $40,000 cars, and their salaries are probably 75, 100,000 a year, something like that. So if your rent is a lot, if your house is a lot, if you're going out to eat is a lot, having some sort of life, maybe paying off college debt, whatever you're doing, whatever amount of money you're making just goes quickly. So it makes sense that people are buying uh, smaller items, even though sales are fine. Um, so that's sort of the customer end. People in general, I think, are getting hammered by tariffs because what happens on my end is, and I really think that a lot of people thought that the other government would pay this bill, but that's completely false. It's I pay the bill, other companies pay the bill, and then the end user pays the bill. So these they're actually talking about having a stimulus. I can say I paid over $100,000 a month of tariffs off containers. I've had magical tariff bills show up even after I paid the original bill months later. So the government is really they're strong arming us, and they're like, oh, we're doing all this good. Well, no, you have a $37 trillion debt. It'll be 38 soon, I'm sure. And then they're taxing us at a high high margin. I pay personally and with the company a lot of taxes. We got property taxes. So I'm seven figures in taxes, right? And then we're gonna add $1 million of taxes a year or something. Tariffs, right? So what happens there is your margins are cut. That means that this Black Friday and Cyber Monday will be really interesting because everyone has less margin than they did last year, and that will be evident. I think if you see some crazy sales, it's going to be shit that doesn't sell. It's going to be stuff that has been sitting in a warehouse that they got pre-tariff, and yeah, or either that or I think on some of the brands that I own, what we did was we sort of split the difference,
Okay.
and yeah, we've split the difference. So I'm making less. We raise the price slightly, and that's that.
So you guys have Black Friday going on right now.
We have it going on right now. There are definitely deals.
Like,
Cobb has their one sale, which is actually 15%. Grimsby has a sale. ETS has a sale. A lot of brands have sales going on right now.
I'm going to go ahead and bring up a picture for everybody so they can see what sales are going on right now.
That's just some of them, really. I mean, hopefully Michael gets it all together for this week and does a better job with sort of navigating the way there. But yeah, those are some of the sales, and yeah, I mean, there are sales, but there's also been a lot of price increases this year. Not really for my brands, but from really every other brand. So I'd say a key example, NVIDIA for the Subaru realm has been the most popular exhaust ever for Subaru WRX. And there was a time that you could buy an R400 exhaust for like a 15 to 21 WRX or whatever, and that was under $1,000. And right now, they're $1,700. They had two price increases. So they're actually a Tomei titanium exhaust is $1,161 retail, and you're $1,700 for a Taiwan exhaust.
That's crazy.
And then you have like AWE is now more affordable, even though they haven't changed pricing really. It's $1,350 or something like that, and they're in Pennsylvania. So now the one that was the best seller has basically died, and Tomei is busy now. Some of these other brands like Borla, Magnaflow, they're picking up MBRP because people might want it, and they sell here and there, but not like they did. I mean, we're talking they would sell hundreds of exhausts a month, and now I can see they're selling a couple exhausts a week. It's crazy.
It's crazy how much the parts themselves have gone up in like the past year. Like I bought a catless downpipe in February for my car. I still haven't put it on. It's going on.
Oh, I can't hear that. I'm not part of that. APA don't come see me.
Oh, my bad.
I don't sell anything like that.
A race downpipe.
Oh, you could put whatever you want on that. All I know is I make like $20 off a downpipe, and that's a $4,300 fine. So
wow.
See, anyone else can have that.
Crazy. My only point was that I spent $600 in February, and they're retailing for $1,100 now.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. In a year, like it literally is going up in value, sitting in my kitchen. It's craziness.
Well, there's a counterpoint to that also. The money is going down in value.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah.
People look at houses and they look at like gold and they look at all these things, and the numbers look like you're richer, but it doesn't go as far. I bought a car, and that same car a year later is $125,000 more. But it's more miles in the car. like, where did the actual value of the money go? It's hard to say.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a 22 WRX. I bought it new, and that was 30 something thousand. I like the first one in town because we got it for Noble and my companies, and we put all the parts on it. And yeah, I mean, used, I'm sure that car's what, 25 grand out, but a new one's what, like 50 almost. So
I paid
it's
for mine in January 29,000, but it's the base, and now
yeah,
it's going for 35.
yeah, because the tariffs. There's, I there's no replacement for the Subarus and the parts. Like I have sensors, every nut, bolt, every gasket, I have engines. I got probably 15 engines 20 engines on the shelf.
I need one.
He does.
I have everything on the shelf at the shop, and I'm sure they've had price increases this year. But what are you going to do? There's not like, if you need a sensor, you can't just go to AutoZone and get some generic bullshit sensor. You have to buy the Subaru one.
You do.
So the tariffs really screw over the whole Japanese market, or really any of it. But it's okay because they're going to give you $2,000 maybe by like June, right?
Yeah,
And that's going to make it all better. So that way, that'll be like a refund for me, except I'll not be refunded what I did, and I'll have to pay taxes on top of that for any profits.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
it's like a constant game of getting screwed over by the government. I'm really not enjoying that. But
Jeremy, we can't hear you. Your voice is moving, but we can't hear you.
That's the market now.
It is. It's crazy. No voice, Jeremy. Get your audio.
So
He's having technical difficulties.
I'll give you a good example for silvers, actually, because you said you had some for your SQ5. You were talking with Derek. Well, every set that's imported, about $250 goes to the government. So that was new, and we had $100 increase this year because of the tariffs, but I'm giving the government $250. So we're making less, having a small, that sort of increase. And personally, I think the product itself, like it's a great value. There's other brands that are very well known that are basically relabeled, and they charge you $500 more. So I think it's a great value, but maybe I'm a little biased. But originally, when I brought that brand in, I wanted to bring in something because I had a little issue. I had funded ISC, and he made me feel like I lost my money. We had a falling out after a multi-year relationship there, and I'm the kind of guy you just want to leave alone, because if you leave me alone, I'll just be idle. I'll be out at my farm weed whacking, hanging out with my kids and stuff. But if you poke me, I will go out of my way to burn it down.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So my answer to that was, well, I'll just import my own suspension company. This is the same story that's happened with other things, like these Subaru groups. They wouldn't let my guys post in the 22 plus WRX. They just delete everything. A couple of the other vendors were paying a couple $100 a month, and they wouldn't let my companies post. So I decided that pissed me off. Why can't everyone post, or everyone have the opportunity?
We've talked about this, I think, already. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I approached the guy that owned it, and I'm like, can I pay to be in there? He's like, no, you can't be in. The other people do. And it was, 3 popular brands. I won't say the names because that wouldn't be nice, right?
No.
So I said, okay, well, would you ever consider selling this group? And he's like, oh, no, I wouldn't sell it. I said, all right. And then I said, well, I'll give you 20 grand for it. And then I didn't, he's like, no, I don't think he thought I was serious. Because it's some little, Facebook group they made up. 2 weeks go by. He goes, were you messing around? I said, no, I said it. So if I say something, you can count on that. So I sent him the 20 grand. I got the group, and now everyone can post once a week.
There you go.
I did that with a BRZ group. I actually bought I have the biggest 6th-gen Bronco group and the Ranger Raptor USA group. I bought all these groups just so I couldn't, my guys wouldn't be silenced.
Wow,
So
that's pretty cool. I mean, that sound, Jeremy. I think you got sound problems. But yeah, I mean, you did that and worked it to your advantage for marketing, obviously. I mean, because Facebook is huge with the groups and people in there. I mean, once you have them and you can do what you want, it's almost like free marketing, almost, right?
except I paid for it.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
but no, I mean, realistically, I could disappear from the groups and just advertise, and we'd have a similar number of sales. But it's nice to interact with people and see what they really want. I like that. I don't really my my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, they actually run all my companies now. Um, I can tell you a funny story. I was divorced and negative $1 million, and my friend was training me at the gym, and this is back in like 2013, 2014. No, maybe it's 2015. Yeah, I don't know. I'm old. I forget. And he's like a real muscular guy. He's real strong, but he can't talk to girls for shit. So we went out to this redneck bar one night, and I'm like, I'll teach you how to talk to girls, no problem. So I walked in, and I met Mary, which is my wife, and then her sister, and then Michael, who I kind of knew before because he did some powder coating. And at that point, Mary and Amanda were vet techs, and Michael was like the Papa John pizza delivery driver or Domino's or something. So that night actually changed everything, and they started in shipping for me, and we sort of grew up and together. We grew together, and I've always done things to help them, uh, uh, and they've done things to help me, and we'll leave it there. But they got to the point where they just beat the game. Michael's well beyond me now. And they like put me out to pasture. So I went from being all of these companies to like, well, you could after when during COVID 2020, I set up my home office where I'm at now, and like I haven't been back to my warehouse, like in terms of I don't work there. So I do a lot of car parts ordering now, but I'm kind of distracting. I'm like I come in and I can just see things like, oh, these parts just came in today. And the warehouse has aisles and aisles, and I can just tell. I can look at something that I ordered, and I can look around, and again, very distracting. So I try to stay to myself, you know. Oh, that's
Definitely.
awesome. Oh, I see Sean over there.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Cool.
He's got a beautiful car.
Yeah, he came and visited us.
Did he? Okay.
Oh yeah, he's got pictures in front of the mural Dane's wife painted. So but yeah, I mean, I remember you guys probably know Dane, and
Yep.
it was 2016, 2017. I remember he worked at National Speed, and for some reason he didn't work at IAG. I think they tried to hire him, and something didn't work out, and it was for my benefit. I remember being in this car in a parking lot, calling him on the phone, and being like, "Dude, you should just come down here and do sales with me." And he came down, and he's been here ever since. He's a great guy, and yeah, I mean, these people I have are pretty awesome. You were talking about Derek, and I mean, we have Will and Anthony that run Silvers. These are people I've known a long time. When I say it's family owned, I mean even my stepdaughter works at the warehouse. It's a great place to sort of learn reality. It's I can't say the business is glamorous because it's not. You have this big warehouse with boxes, and the fun is really you order a product, have it ship, and you get to enjoy your passion, which is modifying your car, which I think is stress relief from whatever you have going on in your life, right? That's modding cars. It's your escape.
Until it breaks.
Well, then we can sell you a couple more parts and you fix it.
Yeah. Just make it better.
But yeah, I mean that happens. I mean, the new FA cars are great. You know, I saw that new STI concept, and I was really dreaming and hoping that they put that STI 6 speed in, because I don't think Subaru will give us the DCT that we need. And if they give me one more CVT, I'm gonna jump off a building. So, uh, yeah, I saw in the concept the DCCD controller with this STI 6 speed, and you have that FA24, which with some head studs and a head gasket will make 650 or something. You can build it. So we have the first stockish Subaru maybe to get to the higher horsepower realm, and I really feel like that would reignite the aftermarket for that. Not like it's dead, but I mean, if we're talking, we've only sold 85,000 cars or something like that since 22. That's not that many. That's
No.
I actually, we can go back to there was a time when Rally Sport was huge. They were doing 50, 55 million a year, and now they died. They imploded. Private equity killed them. But Subi Speed was really the company that sort of. I've always been a performance guy. I like going fast and making a car better. And the market really changed with the VA, WRX, and STI, which would be the 15 to 21. And I noticed people were going right to Subi Speed, and they were like buying $2,000 of, well, to me, I'll call it bullshit, because like headlight stuff and all things that don't make your car any faster, but it's all styling, right? And at that point, I was like, yeah, motors, turbos, injectors, all that. So I wound up, uh, I did a thing, and I'll give you the start of Noble. That's how it started. I did a thing, and I became friends with, I guess, the VP at Subi Speed, and they were killing it. They're just going through a buyout, and that's the same. They were selling out, but they were on fire. People were just going right to the site and buying. And I sent the guy had an Audi R8. I guess he got a nice payout, right? He had an Audi R8, and I got him the matching Audi watch, and I just mailed it to him. I'm like, I need it in so I can do wholesale with these guys. So I mailed him this watch that matches his car. And this after meeting him on these Turn 14 trips, I won them every year to go to different places, and they'd put us all together in a place. That was wonderful. I think probably looking back, that was probably not good for them, but it was great for me, and I could sell my brands to the guys. Those guys were selling Cosmos, and they were selling Silvers, and we're doing business in the back end. But anyway, I realized I'm like, I need my own thing that's like that. And after private equity buys you out, you usually get pretty disgruntled, because they usually cut your pay, and all you have to do is spreadsheets and bullshit, not what made you good in the first place. So after a couple of years of being persistent, I was really friendly with this guy, and he wound up moving down here, and we started Noble the same way he did Subi Speed. So that went pretty well, and some other things happened, and now Derek runs Noble. So I'll give the nicest version of that story I can.
Yeah. Definitely. It's crazy how things work out, though.
Yeah. I usually get very motivated when someone screws me over. So,
Yeah.
like I said, if you just leave me alone, it's really good for you. If you're trying to do anything, just leave me alone. But if you come after me, like, I love being in a war. I just operate off it. I can get like obsessive about it. So, since I can't legally kill anyone. I have an excavator, I got land, I got a track loader with a mulcher. Nope, you can't use it on people. But I could take away your inventory, and then that'll make it harder on you. So
For
So
sure.
that rolls into a question I have, which is what are some things? Oh, hold on.
I feel like I'm at a club.
I fixed it. I promise. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. Jeez.
Okay.
So as far as business goes, what are some things that you wish somebody would have like tapped you on the shoulder and be like, yeah, don't?
No, I don't wish for any of that, actually. Everything that I learned was from making a mistake. Like at one point, in was it 2017, 2018, I was the biggest IAG engine seller, did over $1 million with it. I cornered the market, and then they sent me on my way. I went from the biggest seller to not selling IAG.
That's
So
awesome.
I don't. I mean, all the dealers hated me because I would just order them, put them on my shelf, and ship them out. So I don't regret anything that I've done. And I mean, I over the years I have done some interesting things. I worked with another company, and back when Process West was first there, they cloned their intercoolers, and I sold them. They know that it happened. I know it happened. I was probably like 2009. Um, that didn't work out for me, but I was, I guess, part of it. I don't know. But, fast forward now, I'm the US importer for the brand. We have a good relationship. And, you know, Rally Sport was so much bigger than us at that time that I had to really do anything I could to try to get ahead. They were killing it. To go from 55 million a year, I peaked at like 40 for import image. So, yeah, you have these opportunities, and sometimes it works out. Like I was telling you earlier, they ran out of money last year. The company that owns or owned, I should say, the distributor that owns it. I bought millions of dollars of stuff for not anywhere near $1 million, and I still have some of the inventory. And the margins, like I could never get it that cheap. I have 4,800 of one Grimspeed gasket in stock.
Wow.
That is a
Like
ton.
I could sell it
That is
back
a
to
ton.
them if they sell. I
Now,
don't
do you
know
guys
anything.
sorry, do you guys have new projects or new products that are coming in that like other people have a tough time getting?
I wouldn't say that it's hard to get anything anymore. The world is so interconnected, and you had these whole Alibaba and Temu things and all that. But what people don't realize now is they see that cheap price international, right? Then you get it, and then you get
Yeah,
hundreds of dollars of bills. So
yeah,
is it cheaper? No, it's not. So if you buy from anywhere but America, it's going to be more expensive for you, and you just don't realize it yet.
Right.
When that tax code kicks in, and you're paying, you could buy a $100 T-shirt or something, or $40 T-shirt, and then you get hit with $100 bill. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So
that's
so
insane.
there's yeah, it's nuts right now. People try to import stuff from Japan, like, and then you have the tariffs. I mean, I'm even paying 25% on importing Process West from Australia.
Wow.
Lord.
We didn't raise the price 25%, but I'm paying it. So, I think everyone this year has had a cut. It's been really interesting seeing how it's changed. I mean, I was around during 2008, 2007 when gas went to $5 a gallon back then, and I was like, oh no, oh no. But look, people are gonna mod their cars. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah,
Not drive?
yeah. No,
Right.
no, smiles per gallon.
Well, then you have all them Teslas now. What would happen then? I still don't think, because nothing depreciates like a battery car.
Right.
I have a lot of experience with that.
Definitely. Now, a lot of people say, make it in America. Now, to move manufacturing over here, do all that, how difficult is something like that? I mean, you're in the manufacturing world, you do that. What would it take to move a good amount of that over here?
So that depends really on the product. But I'll generalize that for you and make it actually broader at the same time. So no one knows what the next administration is going to do. So you have, let's say, 3 years left of whatever this is right now. And for you to move factories, it's like insanity. They'd just be getting set up by the time something potentially changes. So that's like a really crazy bet to do. Because who knows if that's going to be forever. although off history, in 2016, Trump added a tariff on Chinese wheels, and that never went away. So maybe it will stay. Who knows? Uh, bring it here. So you've had the EPA for a long time, and there's a lot of legislation and regulations that prevent a lot of items from being made here. I started manufacturing here actually for Buckle Up Off Road, and we're making these signs and all these things. I blindly in October of last year bought a bunch of machines, and we have powder coating and all that, so we can make products at my warehouse, then finish them. This was before the tariffs. We just happened to get into it as another thing, and well, I can't say it's paying off yet, but I think it's going to. Derek's doing a good job with it, and you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So when
No.
you're creating a company, it takes a lot more time, and the bigger a company you are, it's the slower it moves. It's there's a lot of moving pieces, and yeah, we have other companies launching, but it's unfortunately not in the import market. It's in a much bigger market. So I think you're going to see a lot of people getting into the SUV stuff, the truck stuff, because if you have 86,000 Subaru WRXs for '02 to now, and that's like less than a year of Broncos. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to be that good to get a more part. If you can get a small piece of that market, you could do what you do now. So our Bronco company has been rising up, and we're going to do that again with the Jeeps. Um, yeah, I mean, manufacturing here. I mean, I do network with some people, and it's still cheaper even with the tariffs. And not even if it's cheaper, it's like you can actually get it done. So people say make in America, but you know, international and here are similar. You have your hardworking people, and then you have your people that just show up, collect a check, or like don't want to work. Well, you have good factories overseas, and then you have good factories here, and you have everything in between. And I think, from a business owner standpoint, I do have some really great employees, and I love them. But at a broader thing that has nothing to do with my employees, it has to do with America as a whole, basically. Since 2020, you've had a demotivation of the workforce. So do you really believe that a lot of these invisible plants, because they don't exist yet, right? They had to be built. Will they have the workforce to actually make items? A lot of these items require welding, fabrication, they require painting, like skills. And we've gone away from skilled laborers towards people that post on Instagram pictures of their cat or something. So
Right.
I think AI is a really good thing that's going to help out. We're able to do a lot more, but from my business owner point of view, I'm not getting rid of people. I'm not getting rid of humans. We're just repurposing what they do to help the AI systems interact. So we're just sort of feeding them, really. So it's going to be these next. Well, Michael said 2 years, but after I showed him some of the AI grok stuff I did, he says a year and a half. These next year and a half or 2 years is going to be insane with what happens because, well, no one really knows what's going to happen.
No, it's moving so fast and getting so intricate that you don't know what it's going to get put into.
Yeah, and I'm sort of a dinosaur in that I collect physical products, but it's all I know how to do. I always said until McDonald's pays more, I'll be doing this. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that AI can't do. It's not going to replace a sensor on your car. It's not going to replace your crankshaft. It's not going to replace your pistons. It's not going to replace your suspension. So
AI is also not going to build parts.
That's right.
Yep.
So you still need people. Well, for now.
I mean, we have a really cool 3D scanner.
Right.
And then we use that. So like when Derek is making Silver's products or helping prototype something, their factory's in Taiwan, and we can scan one of our cars and design a suspension and even show like it works before even printing one out and making one,
That's cool.
and then we can just send it right to the factory. So that probably will become more automated as technology progresses. I mean, I just saw something that says if you take a picture of something, it'll make a 3D model. So
Wow.
I'm sure it's getting closer. Uh, yeah, but manufacturing hasn't been my strong point. I would say the importation, the warehousing, the distribution of products, that's been my thing. And having a warehouse, you could always change out the inventory.
Yep.
And that's sort of what I'm sticking with. I get people that want to buy my warehouse all the time, these investment firms, and I'm like, no matter the price, I'm not really selling. So we were talking about sort of the devaluation of money, and they send you these big offers, and you're like, well, what does it actually mean from when I bought it in 2019 and now?
All right.
What's the increase on paper looks like 3 times or 4 times, something like that.
Yep.
But is that it's gone then, cash is losing its value, but we still need it to pay bills, right? So we're stuck in this system. But I'm not a finance major. I'm not an expert. I failed out of business management twice. So,
And here you are today.
yeah, good thing I don't do my books, right? Actually, early on, I think the first 3 years of business, I was doing like Microsoft Excel. It was crazy. And I was doing like, I think up to $7 million a year on Microsoft Excel, every order, every address, everything. And it got to the point, I had to convert to QuickBooks eventually. And my dad actually, he wound up working for me. I figured out a way that my parents could move to Florida and sort of retire down here, and he's my accountant. So now he actually he'll be 70 in 3 days, but he just did a bike ride today of 70 miles for his 70th birthday.
Wow.
Which is super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who else though?
Yeah, well, his story is even crazier because he never drank, never smoked, and so he's like a Boy Scout. He's a super nice guy. He's way nicer than me, and and yeah, he wound up going to a chiropractor down here, and they almost killed him on the table. Like he had malpractice strokes on the table. So he's deaf in one ear now, and his balance is weird. It's all off. So riding a bike is a big thing. I told you before, they had Nissans, and back in, it's around 2007, he got his first Corvette. That was his dream. I had a yellow C5 with a 427 fully built heads and cam, and he got a Z06 manual. It was like a 01, and I remember we went up to Orlando. We got it. It was his dream car. Well, not his actual dream car, but good enough. You know what I mean? It was a sports car. And he got to drive it a little bit, and then he had these strokes, and he had to sell it.
Oh no!
So he can't go fast in a car. It throws him off the G forces. And make it crazier, I've had my ups and downs. During COVID times, I got up to an Audi R8, and I had it for a year. I put like 1,000 or 2,000 miles on it, and then a dealer offered me like 30,000 more than I paid. I was like, okay, sure. I was either going to twin turbo it, or I was going to buy a Tesla, and I bought a Tesla, unfortunately. So I had like one of the first Plaid S's that came out, because it's stupid fast. I couldn't stop, but it was fast. I think I paid like 128,000, and like I traded in for I think 60 grand. Yeah.
Wow.
With like 5,000 miles. That's almost the worst car investment you could ever do, is buy a Tesla or anything like that.
That is crazy. Now, with everything you've done in life and your businesses, what's the best word of advice you'd give to somebody that wants to own their own business and be as successful as you are someday?
I think not accepting a failure and not giving up. Like I remember as at SEMA 2017, my first SEMA, and the guy that used to run my oil company ordered I don't even, he must have ordered blind. And we got 9 containers in, which was like 7 figures. And like, I couldn't afford that back then. So I was like, my back was kind of against the wall there. And, I don't give up. I went to SEMA and I got a distribution deal with Turn, and that sort of helped, sort of. We wound up leaving there eventually. But even when things suck, you can't give up. And there's times that suck. There's, it looks like one thing on the internet, but there's weeks I donate 100 grand to this company on top of parts. There's weeks that you question why you're doing it. And that happens at the beginning, at the middle, at the end, where you're at now. It doesn't matter how big you are. The numbers might get bigger, but it's still the same stresses. I have 30 families that rely on me not to screw up. That's a weight. That's a weight that private equity doesn't care. Corporate doesn't care, but that's something that's super important to me. And I don't think owning a business is for everyone. It looks good on Instagram. It looks good in real life, but being able to work a certain amount of hours and then just disconnect, that's wonderful. Honestly, there was from 2015 to 2020, I worked 7 days a week and took basically no vacations. And, I missed out on a lot. My oldest daughter's 13, and I went through a divorce when she was 2.5. And I gave up a lot of my time, working for the company. I've had a lot of ups and downs. We actually, in November 4th of 2020, I lost my stepson in a car accident. And this was like in the middle of, was a company, a big company that he was in the middle of buying me or working on that, and suddenly that didn't matter anymore. There's really a lot there, but yeah, I'm losing my track here, but at the end of the day, you get to the point and you say, am I doing this for the money, or am I doing it because I love doing it? It's what I know. And giving up could almost be easy. You could give up and go get a job somewhere else. And it is easier to check out, but 7 days a week for 5 years straight, so a long thing. And now that's why I have a 2.5-year-old son now. And what's super cool is I've been able to, I'm there every day. I wake up in the morning and I put my winter jacket and my boots on. I look like a homeless guy and I run around my lake. It's nuts.
I love it.
Yeah, I do it every day. I just, and then I go hang out with my kids and I work and I order my parts and I do whatever I have to do. I spend, when I have my daughter, I spend 3 hours a day in the car line, picking her up and dropping her off, and my other stepson. So, I don't know how people do that shit. I don't know how, but you just do it. So I feel very, very, very thankful that I'm able to do that now. I missed out on so much, and you only try to, I guess, make up for it, but you can't. Time only goes one way, and the older you get, the more you see, like, okay, well, I have maybe I have 50, 40 years left, but maybe I have just a week. You don't actually know. And there's nothing like waking up and getting a call and like it's over. You know what I mean? So that's happened. I've seen it happen multiple times. I've seen people close to me pass away multiple times, and that's beyond car parts. That's just life. We're all going through this experience, and we're trying to learn from our experiences. So that's in car parts, in business, you're trying to learn from your mistakes. Like, hey, I invested money here. I thought it was going to work out. I didn't sell anything, and now it's just in the warehouse. There's definitely stuff that sucks for me now. So don't think that everything's amazing. Right now they're not selling our returns. I've been taking back returned products, giving people their money back right away. But I got pallets and pallets. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. It could be $1 million of returns there. But it's more about the customer experience than it is me. So
Yeah.
that's really been our focus the past 5+ years is the customer experience. And there's a lot of things like if your package gets lost or something happens, like we just eat it and we just send customers products, and no one else can do that like what we're doing in this niche of Subaru stuff. No one's doing that. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that and to help the customers and kind of go beyond. At the same time, like thanks for not shopping on Amazon or whatever,
All right.
So, yeah, small business is what keeps it all going in America, right? So
definitely is. And you say the customer experience. How many owners are on social media talking to their customers and their followers? Not many anymore. And that's how I met you, was through your Facebook.
On my level, I would say zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not inflating my ego, but doing what we do sales wise, it's zero. They disappeared at half of what I'm at. I've seen it. I got the history. I just can't because like people still associate with me, even if they don't know me anymore, which is totally fine. Like I'm actually going to Subi Fest on December 14th. That's gonna be pretty cool.
Boxer
Actually
Fest.
gonna have a meeting with the guy that bought Rally Sport and Subi Speed. So that's cool. I still will go to events, and we were just at SEMA. And that was cool. I got to bring some of my guys there and they had a great time. Everyone had a great time. They got to drive NASCARs and meet industry people. We had a dinner one night with AMS. That's kind of surreal to me. Like they have the fastest Huracan or R8, and we're having dinner together. I'm like a Subaru part schmuck, like I'm not special. So
yeah.
That's the thing. I'd say whether you're worth $1 billion or you're worth $1, like you can be in the same room. And that's, I bought part of a local chapter for Fastlane Drive, which is exotic supercars, but it's really just networking with people you want to hang out with, really cool people that made themselves. There's all sorts of different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, everyone's going through things. They've succeeded, and it's a nice little outlet for people. And that's really what car parts is. It's an outlet for people. Whether it's OEM stuff or aftermarket, people are going through whatever they are, and we're trying to put a smile on your face. And there were some really funny things I used to do when I was at the shop every day. I would write on people's packages, and I could only imagine the look on your face when the FedEx guy showed up or UPS guy, and your box said, "I fondled your package," or
Excellent.
or I would wrote like, "I love you," and like your girlfriend sees it, and they're like, "What?"
Oh, that's pretty good. So, talking about SEMA, we're
Sure.
we're involved with SEMA Action Network. A
Mhm.
lot of the things you are in the modified parts world. There's a bill that they're trying to fight and get people back behind, the right to modified. Do you guys know anything about that?
You're talking about having the ability to modify a car and
Yes.
have it be factory, or
It's a broad bill. Basically, trying to take away our rights to put certain parts on our car. It has a lot to do with the emissions.
well, I mean, I think you should be able to do whatever you want. That's freedom of America. But in reality, like we were saying before, a lot of places got hit with these EPA fines, and I didn't because I got out before everyone did. We sort of saw it coming, and so for every downpipe you sold, that's like a $4,300 summons. So someone like me would have done like thousands, right? So I'm happy we're weren't part of that, and we did the right thing. But yeah, I mean, you should be able to do whatever you want, but the government. So,
Right.
like, we should have parts that are tariff free, because those tariffs are just taxes to people like you and I. And we already pay a shit ton of taxes. So, should we be getting billed again for our government's misspending? I'd say no.
Yeah.
So,
No.
should you be able to modify your car any way you want? Yeah, you could put dildos on the hood. You could put LED washer nozzles. You could put underbody kit. You can do whatever the hell you want, man. That's what you should be able to do. But
Yeah, that's
That
from
was
back
a-
in the day. That was back when I was in high school. Was the LED
I was,
watch?
I was gonna
Josh,
say, yeah. I'm surprised they haven't made a
I was one of those
comeback. I guess
guys.
maybe they're on the windshield wipers now, but
Well, that was like the valve stem LEDs too.
Yeah, like the
driving down the
chrome
road and your
wipers and
wheels would be lighting up, and you know.
well, I guess that sort of came back. Derek printed out some 3D penises and put it on some of my
Nice.
cars. You know,
Nice.
they see me rolling. Oh,
He's hard at work.
yeah. So well, we like to have fun, but yeah, I mean, I think you should be able to do whatever you want, but the government doesn't think so. So I'm not gonna fight them, because yeah, I actually I can tell you something that you don't know that is mind blowing. I've had to go against the state of California twice so far. I'm in something with them right now, and
So is
the
California.
reasoning is, so I pay internet sales tax in all the states that collect it, which is everyone, because we break all the barriers, the thresholds. So in California, because we sell products, even though I only have one warehouse in Florida, we do customer service after the sale via Florida, right? Because if a customer has an issue, if they have a problem, if they have a question, we're going to answer that, right? It's wow, right? So because we do that, California says that we have a physical presence there. And they want to charge me taxes for an invisible effing building that doesn't exist. So I actually beat them, and we're going to beat them again because it's illegal. But I mean, think about it. The government's coming after us for supporting our customers.
That's crazy. And
It's
why
been
is
happening for a couple of years now.
it's always
so-
California? Always.
California.
Well, they
is a
started, and then
disaster.
the other similar states adopt it. You know, like Colorado's got a lot of laws now. Washington, and, you know, it just keeps going. So, at what point will they be hands off? Probably never. Will it be as lenient as it was? You know, I know that you guys can go buy catless downpipes and all that. It's available, but I won't put myself in that boat again, because I can't. It's too much of a liability. If I was selling products for Porsches, and I'm selling a $10,000 exhaust and headers, sure, you could feasibly get hit. I mean, some of these cars, the exotics, are like $20,000 for exhaust. Like, you could afford to get hit, probably, if you're a manufacturer.
Yeah.
But on a Subaru exhaust, to make like $20 to get a potential of 4,300,
Yeah. no, it doesn't
negative. That's
Yeah.
the worst math ever.
Negative, Ghost Rider. Negative.
Do you know how well you would sleep if the government was coming after you? Because I know personally people that had to pay fines, and there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions. So, I mean, originally that's why Cobb. That's why they did the whole green speed. They got hit because of their tuning devices, and you know, then they made a completely legal way to modify your car. So people were really against that back then, but they really did a huge service for the community that people don't realize. And there it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know more than I can say, but you're going to be seeing some really interesting things happening in the Subaru realm over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Some
Okay.
brands that you know might be coming together.
But we
Okay.
but we
All right.
but we get to
There's
know first.
I'll put it this way. There's brands that there's brands that are out there that are owned by one company that like you don't even know own them. Like
Oh
you'd
wow.
think they're competing brands. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
interesting. We're in some
Okay.
interesting times.
Excited to see what this all is for sure.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead and get with our last questions here. Thomas, Jeremy, do you guys have anything you want to ask?
Not specifically. I just think it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
It's just nice hearing your story. We're similar ages. We did similar things in our younger days. It's cool. You're just, it was nice hearing about your story and seeing where you're at now and just the way that you talk, business wise. The way you look at business is the way I think more people should look at business, and they don't. So
Well, I'm the foot on the gas guy. Michael's a little bit more conservative, so we balance each other out pretty well. I just want to win, that's
mhm.
whatever it is. I just want to win. So um, sometimes there's an opportunity to do so, and sometimes that opportunity isn't there, and you just have to learn to let it go. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen in the import performance realm. I've seen it shrinking. It's consolidating.
Mhm.
People are leaving. Um, when's that going to stop, or is it just going to keep going until it's basically gone? I don't know, but that's sort of what's happening in the Subaru realm anyway. And even Honda probably does pretty well. Like I was just talking with PRL Pat, and I know a lot of these guys in the industry, and it's not as it's probably not as sexy as it was before. I can't say that Subaru parts are the future, and
Yeah.
that for someone who's made, I've spent half my life in Subaru parts land basically, so I don't really know a lot else, and that's sort of a scary future. But I still didn't sell. I'm still here, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens because no one knows. I don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
but
But you're a realist, and that's important, especially in the current climate. Like
Yeah.
it's realistic. Like things could change tomorrow and change everything.
it's all
But
about how you adapt to that.
yeah,
Like hey, we
exactly.
have to adapt to the tariffs. I can't get around them. I'm not
Right.
gonna. I don't do anything shady. We don't lie. We pay the bill and adjust prices how we have to, and that's it. And a
Right.
lot of the reselling things, they have price increases. You try to, if it's a hot selling part, you try to buy enough, but you can never buy enough. There's only so much money and only so much space, and you just do the best you can.
Yep.
Definitely. Jeremy, you got anything?
No, I'm actually glad to hear that you take care of your customers. I'm a huge advocate on customer experience. And the fact that you still sit there and you go, "Hello, hi, how are you?" Like making sure and eating the cost of things for customers is like bravo. Awesome job. Thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
doing that for us and everybody.
no problem. I mean, if it's on my website and it says it's in stock, it's going to ship that day because we
Yeah.
have the largest inventory
Oh,
and no one else has that. So
yeah.
I'd say there's a 15-minute grace period we put in. So like if you're
Holy
drunk
crap.
online or if your mom says no, you can cancel your order and then it doesn't incur any fees. Dude, it happens. If you look on my website, Import Image Racing,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I wrote like the most funny fact questions or answers. And like, if you're drunk on the internet at 2 a.m., you buy shit, like you're gonna have a fee because if you stole your mom's credit card and bought these, like she gave birth to you, so you're gonna have to ask her for forgiveness, like she'll understand, obviously. Um, yeah, it's just
Definitely.
it's a interesting thing because at the end of the day, we want the customer's experience to be the best, and things have changed quite a lot, but if you're good to my people, we will be good to you. If you're a complete asshole, I will take your shit and I will post it online and show everyone how much of an asshole you are. And I give 0 Fs.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
so
Yes.
you know, like there's no point to be that way because you're not talking to a computer. You're actually talking to people.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna make a pretty girl cry, are you? Like I understand people have a lot of stresses nowadays, and I think since people go on the internet, they go on Reddit or they go on Facebook or but especially forums where you're more anonymous, like on a website like that, and if they have something shitty going on, you can tell because they'll take it out on you, right? So you have to remember we're all people, and if someone pissed in your Cheerios today, like sometimes you have to eat that, and you don't have to like give it back to other people, and that's just being human, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Trying to see the best in everything.
Definitely. Before we get off here, if you want to tell everybody your company's websites or socials,
Sure.
whatever you'd like to do.
www.importimageracing.com would be the Subaru product site. We have Noble on there as well. We have Silver's Suspension, which is the coilover company. I have Cosmos Racing Wheels, Cosmos USA. We have Buckle Up Off Road, which is the Bronco and Ranger Raptor company, which we're giving away my Ford Bronco, one of them, right now. We've got Nahm Industries, the wholesale site with the Process West, Fortune, BC Racing, importation, resale, PDM, Tomei, Killer Bee. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the ones they need to know.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No, definitely. Thank you for coming on. Stick around for a second. I'm going to go through our last scene here, and we'll come back, have a little debrief, and yeah, definitely. And everybody, go follow all our socials at Low and Boosted everywhere. Also, go check out our website that is up and running at lowandboosted.com. We got merch, all our past episodes, any information you need to find us. Thank you all tonight for joining in, and have a good night.